So if you were to ask me how many books that I have bought in the month of September, answer is always too many. Always too many. Hi everyone, my name is Rose, also known as TA Summers. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here or if you're returning, welcome. This particular video is going to be my book haul for the month of September, and as always I have way too many books at my disposal to be able to share, so this is going to be kind of a quick pass of everything that I bought in the month of September. I'll kind of like walk down each of the age groups, each of the different genres, um, where I've got some of these specifically, and just basically going through all of those particular things. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I'm going to share with all of you is my book of the month's pick for the month of September. And this is a magical realism book that talks about a group of neighbors within a magical apartment. And you may know the author of, she has written a number of different things, including Garden Spells, The Girl Who Chased the Moon, and things like that. And she is a North Carolina author. So I know of her work very well. I've read a couple of her books, but it's been a while since I've visited it. So this is Sarah Addison Allen's Other Birds. And as you can see, this is the cover for the Book of the Month edition. So the next group of books I am going to feature are graphic novels or comics that I have bought in the month of September. Some of them I've had the opportunity to read since I picked them up. Others I will be adding to my overall TPR. So without further ado, we're going to get started, and I'm just going to go through these fairly quickly. So the first book that I have to feature is a book that has been frequently challenged across a number of different states. It's an adult graphic novel. It is basically from the perspective of a non-binary author. I had the pleasure of being able to read this in the month of September because it was actually banned from my system library, so I was not able to check out this book. The spectrum of a lot of like school book bannings and things like that, this was actually banned from the public library system in my area. So I could not pick it up, so I opted to buy it, and I bought the deluxe edition. This is Genderqueer by Mai Kobabe. I forgot to mention that I'm also including manga in this particular lineup of comics, graphic novels, and things like that. So I actually picked up quite a few manga titles within the month of September. And the first one is kind of a revisiting of a series that I loved as a teenager, young adult, and I have watched the anime series of the same name as well, and it's one that I love, but they've updated it and given it a hardcover edition, so it'll be my first time revisiting it in a number of different years. So this is Sayuki, Volume 1, the Resurrected edition. So you can see this is a very high quality hardcover edition. So hopefully I will pick up Sayuki within the next couple of months to revisit it. It probably won't be this month, but it'll probably be like maybe in November. I am looking forward to revisiting this series for the first time in goodness knows how long, so that'll be coming down the pipeline. So the next book that I want to feature is also a manga, and it is a manga that is new to me. I have not picked up this particular series before, and I wanted to pick up more LGBTQ themed manga series to peruse in my collection, and this is one that caught my eye. It's basically about two unlikely roommates who have been friends for the longest time, and they are exploring their feelings for each other progressively. And I love the artwork that is featured in this manga, and it definitely appealed to me when I first started picking it up. So this particular one is Anti-Romance by Shoko Hidaka. Hopefully I said that right, Shoko Hidaka. And this is the first volume to Anti-Romance. The next manga that I want to feature is actually the last book in a collection that I have started for quite the longest time, and it is one of my all-time favorite series with respect to manga series, and this is the fifth volume of this particular series. I'm hoping to do a reread from the beginning. I may try to see if I can do a read-along type vlog for the first volume in this manga series on the channel, but I'm not sure if it's going to be this year or if it's going to be sometime next year. But I'm very excited because this is one series that I've wanted to have in my collection for a number of years, and it was one of my very first favorite manga series that is near and dear to my heart. So this is the fifth volume. This is The Rose of Versailles by Ryoko Ikeda. As you can see, this is a really beautiful cover, hardcover edition. And I have all 5 of these volumes. So like I may just do an individual video on this particular series, highlighting all 5 of the volumes, and then start with each one or certain sections of each volume to do in kind of a read-along summary slash review. So that'll be coming. So the next book that I want to feature is one that I have already read but wanted to add to my collection. I initially read this as a galley, and I enjoyed it so much that I wanted to add it to my overall collection and be able to reread it whenever I want to. This is by Jamila Rouser and Robin Smith. This is Wash Day Diaries. And you can find a review of this on both my Goodreads and also on my blog. But this was a really well done adult comic talking about 5 ladies in their day-to-day lives and their romantic encounters, and just basically following them in the spectrum of their friendship. And so the last 2 books that I want to feature that I purchased in the month of September with respect to comics, graphic novels, and manga, these are 2 graphic novels slash comics that I was able to pick up. One of them is a longtime favorite of mine that I have not revisited in a number of years, and Batman is one of my favorite heroes. Batman Haunted Knight by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. And this is the updated version. This is not the older version that I remember reading this when I checked it out of the library many years ago, and I really enjoyed it, so I wanted to add this to my collection. Enjoyed it, and it's one of my all-time favorite stories of Batman, though. It's 3 different stories, 3 different kind of short sections where it follows Batman in terms of trying challenging cases and basically like on Gotham City. And one of my favorite stories in here involves Batman dealing with the Scarecrow. So I think that's actually the very first story that's in here. But it went on to inspire other Batman series, including the Long Halloween, I think is the name of the title. But if it's a different title, then I will add that into this video. And the last one is one that I have picked up in the month of September, and I have also read it. So my thoughts on it will be in the video where I talk about my September reads. This is the first volume of Paper Girls. And I was inspired to read this based on the now canceled Amazon Prime series. I'm kind of bummed about that, but I decided that I would eventually get through all of these particular volumes. So I started with this one, and I'm definitely going to be continuing this series as I'm able to pick up the rest of the volumes. So the next book that I'm going to feature is actually the only one within the sci-fi fantasy genre that I have been able to pick up in the month of September. This is The Moon Day Letters by Emi Itaranta. Hopefully I said that right. And this is a really beautiful cover. It definitely appealed to me as being a kind of an eco-thriller, space age type story. I'm planning on being able to pick this up within the next couple of months. It may not be October, but I'm definitely either going to try to see if I can pick this up later October or in November to be able to read. So this next book I'm going to feature is really the only one of its kind that I picked up in the month of September. and it's one that I'm really interested in reading. It's a fictionalized story, but it's based on the real life of an actual real estate magnate, Josephine N. Leary. And I knew that I wanted to pick this up because it's relating to my native North Carolina roots, in terms of important people whose lives details have not necessarily been shared readily in terms of their story. So this is Carolina Built by Kiana Alexander. And I'm hoping to get to this within the next couple of months to be able to read for myself and be able to learn more about her life in detail based on this narrative account. It's fictionalized, but it's based on actual events. And next two books that I want to feature are trade paperbacks of two romance novels. One of them, this is from an author that I have loved for many years, and it's the latest novel that I've been able to pick up from her and add to my collection. This is Megan Hart's Coming Up for Air. As you can see, this is a really pretty cover. I'm interested in being able to pick this up. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to it this month, but I'm going to try to see if I can either get to this, try to get to this before the end of the year. The other book that I want to feature that is also on trade paperback romance, that is from an independent author, and it's a collection of 3 stories in one, all novellas. And I've read from this author. I love her works very much, but this is actually a book that's new to me. This is the Love Sisters collection by Christina C. Jones. So the next several books are actually mass market paperback books that are within the genre of romance. I think most of these I have bought brand new. Like, they're not ones that I got secondhand or through Pango books or anything like that. These are all brand new books. So I'm going to try to go through these as quickly as possible. I'm not sure when I'll be able to get to them, but I definitely want to feature them since I picked them up all in the month of September. So to get started, first thing I'm going to feature is an author who I have gotten the first book in this series as a galley. I believe it's The Good Girl's Guide to Rake. So this is the second book in that particular series. This is Eva Lee's How the Wallflower Was Won. And I believe this is the Last Chance Scoundrel series. So I misspoke. So the first book in this series is The Good Girl's Guide to Ricks, and I got that as a galley. I'm hoping to be able to read that one first and then get to this one as soon as possible. The next several books in the mass market paperback haul that I have for the month of September for romance. This is all the books in this particular trilogy. It is new to me. I wanted to pick up more of this author's works because I've read her before and I've had her work as galleys, but it's been several years since I picked up her work. So I'm guessing that this is called the Wild Heat series. So it first starts off with this book. This is Bella Andre's Wild Heat. This is the first book in the series. And I think it's called the Wild Heat series. If it's not, then I will definitely add that to the description to be able to check this out. I'm not sure if you can see that. There we go. That's better. Second book in the series is Hot as Sin by Bella Andrea. And the third book in the series is Never Too Hot. So this is all part of the Wild Heat series. And I'm hoping to get to these as soon as I can. Last 2 books in the mass market paperback books that are more heavily built as romance. The first one is one that I was able to get as a galley, but I also pre-ordered it, and I'm looking forward to reading it. This is Rome Parrish's The Rivals of Casper Road. This is another LGBTQ themed romance that I'm definitely looking forward to reading. I've read Roan Parrish's work before, but this is the first in this particular series that I've been able to pick up. And the last one is more of a gothic romance, I believe, and this is also, and historical. This is The Widow of Rose House by Diana Biller. And this is one that came highly recommended to me, so I'm looking forward to being able to pick this up as soon as possible. So the next several books that I am going to feature are all new books brand new books that I did not buy secondhand, but some of them I've had the opportunity to read that are in the YA genre, and it's a mixed bag of different ones that I either pre-ordered or were able to pick up when I was going through different bookstores in the month of September. So I'm going to go through these very quickly. This first one is one that I've already read, but I wanted to revisit and reread and give it a proper review on my channel as well as my Goodreads and blog. This is I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter by Erica L. Sanchez. And I really enjoyed this book the first time I read it, but I'm excited to be able to give it a proper review and revisit it sometime this month, in the month of October, as I'm filming this. The next one is a sequel to a book that I already have in my collection, and I was able to pick it up in September because it just came out in paperback, and I prefer to be able to read the series in paperback. First book in this particular series is Raybearer. So this is Redemptor, the second book, and it is a duology. I'm very excited to be able to read these in a marathon read for the month of probably either October or November, but I'm definitely planning on picking this series. Really nice fantasy series with rich world building, and one that I'm very excited to be able to get to. Next is a YA contemporary that I'm excited to be able to pick up, and this is new to me. Not a new to me author because I love this author's works very much, but this is new to me in terms of this being a book that I have not read yet. This is Deb Coletti's Girl Unframed. And I have a weakness for beach-themed stories or beach-based stories, so this is one that I've wanted to read for quite some time, and kind of has a relationship within it with also mysterious elements. So I'm hoping to get to this pretty soon, and hopefully be able to review it on my channel as well as on my blog and Goodreads. The next book is a YA series that this one has also come out in paperback, and I preferred to read it in paperback when it was released. The second book in this series also just came out in hardcover, so I will probably pick that up as soon as I can, but this is the first book in this particular sci-fi series that is YA. This is Gear Breakers by Zoe Hana Mikuta. So you can see this is a really nice cover. I'm definitely planning on picking up this very soon. And the last two books that I picked up in YA that are actually new to me, and ones that I actually pre-ordered and wanted to add to my collection, but they're new to me in terms of reading them. The first one is from an author that I have read before, and I love her works. She has written Dread Nation, I think is the first book in the series, and I can't remember the second book in the series right offhand, but that was a duology that featuring a Black girl who during the Civil War slays zombies, and it was a really good book, and I enjoyed it very much. This is her latest novel. This is Rust on the Roof by Justina Ireland, and I'm hoping to get to this pretty soon. The second one is a YA series that features black mermaids, and I have Skin of the Sea, which is the first book in this particular series, but the second book in the series came out in September. So this is Soul of the Deep by Natasha Bowen. As you can see, this is a really beautiful cover. I'm excited to be able to read this, and I'm hoping to be able to read both the first book and the second book pretty soon. Now, this last stack of books are all books that I was able to get secondhand from either Pango books or my local used bookstore. So I'm going to go through these quickly because there are a lot of them, and the vast majority of them I believe are young adult. If they're not, then I will definitely let you know as I go through them. So I'm going to go through them quickly without further ado. First one is actually one that I have read before from this particular author, and it's actually one of my favorites from the author in terms of her releases. This is Mary H.K. Choi's Emergency Contact, and I got the paperback version for this. I'm probably going to try to see if I can reread this and give it a proper review, but the first time I read it, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the relationship between the characters and the dual perspective. So I'm hoping to be able to get to this pretty soon and review it for my channel as well as for Goodreads and for my blog. Next one is a hardcover version of a book that from an author that I have read before, and I've read 2 of her books before and I really enjoyed them. This is a kind of a coming of age feminist and also sapphic romance, if I remember correctly, that deals with a lot of tough issues, and I'm definitely looking forward to being able to read it. I think I'm trying to remember the main book that I have read by her before. I know the book now. It is Spellbook of Lost and Found is the one that I have read from this author before. So this is Moira Fowley Doyle's All the Bad Apples. And so I'm hoping to get to this pretty soon. Hopefully you can see that. My ring light it is kind of going in and out of it, so it wants to do what it wants to do, but this is All the Bad Apples. These next 3 books are all a part of the same series and from the same author. Kind of a story of coming of age teen romances that are not necessarily like with the same characters. To my knowledge, they're kind of new to me, and like they featured the old cover since I was able to pick them up on Pango books. But I'm definitely going to be able to get to these as soon as I possibly can, because I like these kinds of stories. The very first one is Catching Jordan by Miranda Kennelly. As you can see, this is the old cover. I will put up a picture of the newer cover version up here when I do my editing. Another book in the particular series, and these are not in order, these are just titles that I have picked up that are a part of the same series, and I'm not exactly sure of the series order, but this second one is Things That I Can't Forget by Miranda Kennelly, and this last one is Defending Taylor by the same author. So the next book that I'm going to feature is also YA, and this is from a long forgotten series. I have all the books in the trilogy from this author, and it was published, I believe, by Razor Bill back in all the way back in, was it 2009? I think it might be 2009. Yes, 2009. This is Beautiful Americans by Lucy Sillag. And as you can see, this is a used library copy. So I have this this first book in this series. It's called the Beautiful Americans trilogy. This is the first book, and there are 2 other books that I was able to find on Audible to be able to listen to. Because since this series is out of print, I am planning on reading every single one of the books in this series. I'm just not sure exactly when it will be. The next book that I want to feature is actually an omnibus of a series in YA that has been long out of print, and I was able to get this the complete series. I think it's a collection of all the 4 novels in this particular series from this author, and I wanted to revisit it because this is not an author that I have read before to my knowledge, and she has been very popular within the, like, during a certain segment of like what in terms of YA history, in terms of novels that have had impact. This is the Balefire series, and this is by Kate Tiernan. And I'm not 100% sure like if Balefire is the name of the series itself, or if this is just the omnibus collection, but I will definitely update that in the video if that's the case. So this is an author that's newish to me, and this is one that has been long forgotten and long out of print, and I definitely want to read all 4 novels that are in this collection. So hopefully that'll be coming on the pipeline. I believe this is considered YA fantasy. And I'll correct that if I'm wrong, but I believe this is YA fantasy, and it's a collection of 4 different novels. This is A Chalice of Wind, A Circle of Ashes, A Feather of Stone, and A Necklace of Water. I feel like I picked up a lot of retro YA titles during my trips to my used bookstore as well as on Pango Books. I'm trying to work on a YA retrospective to highlight series that have either been lost to time a bit and people don't really talk about as much anymore, or ones that have been pivotal to the history of YA in terms of how it's evolved for teens and young adults as an age group category for literature. So this particular one is one that I have not read from this particular author, but and is new to me. But I've read several of this author's books with kind of mixed results. She has written a number of different books for the community, and this particular one is one that's new to me. This is Take Me There by Suzanne Colasanti, and I'm hoping to get to this pretty soon. The next one is by a very well-known and very beloved author in the YA community, and I have read this book before, but it's my first time actually revisiting this particular book because I loved it at the time that I read it, and it's been on a number of different banned challenge lists and things like that. And if you know the novel Speak, then you'll know who this author is. This is Lori Halse Anderson's Twisted, and this is the newer version of this particular cover, if I remember correctly. The one that I had before that I read in terms of the edition, I think had like kind of a twisted pencil, and I will put that old cover on here in just a bit with editing. I believe that version is out of print. This next book is another book that I have read before, but I wanted to give a proper review and I wanted to add it to my collection. And I have read it before, and it's by one of my favorite YA authors. This is Jennifer Brown's Bitter End, and it is basically the story of an abusive relationship with a girl who who falls in love with the charming bad boy, and it ends up going south relatively quickly. And it's basically the journey of this girl trying to come to terms with that relationship and being able to get out of it. I really enjoyed this the first time that I read it, and I'm hoping to be able to revisit it and give it a proper review. But I really enjoyed it the first time I read it. And the next two books that I want to feature that are also YA retrospectives, one of which I've read before but I wanted to revisit, and the other one that's new to me that I have not read quite yet. And I believe I have heard about this particular author before because one of her books was featured on a banned list, but this is one title of hers that has not been banned. I think the name of the title of the book that was banned was called Teach Me. So I know of the author's work. I have not read Teach Me, but I do plan on picking up as soon as possible. This is another one of her works. This is Breathe My Name by R.A. Nelson. And I actually really like the effect of the lettering on this. It's really nice. It looks like writing a finger on like a bathroom mirror, like when it's steamed over. It's a really nice cover effect, but I'm hoping to get to this pretty soon. And the second one is one that I have read before from this author, and it's probably my favorite of this author's particular works. I read it as a galley, so I was able to pick it up as a hardcover edition. I think there may be a paperback version coming down the line in 2023. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm definitely planning on picking this up and revisiting it probably sometime within the next several months or sometime early next year. This is Young Widows Club by Alexandria Coutts. And this is the author of the book Tumble and Fall as well. So if I have also read that early on, but I didn't love it as much as I liked this particular novel. So I'm definitely planning on picking this up again pretty soon. And we've come to the very last book that I was able to pick up in the month of September. This is not YA, this is actually an adult novel, and it is the mass market paperback of a book that I believe I have read before, but I don't know if I've marked it on Goodreads or if I've reviewed it, but it is the mass market paperback version, one that I have not seen um, carried in stores, but I wanted to add it to my collection and be able to reread it. This is Maya Banks' Keep Me Safe, and it's part of the Slow Burn series, and is considered to be romantic suspense. So I'm hoping to be able to revisit this as soon as I can, but I'm not 100% sure when that will be. And that is all of the books that I have picked up in the month of September, both new and used. I will put an overall total of how many books that was in editing, but I know it was a lot. I know it wasn't as big as my last book haul, but it was definitely a significant amount. And I did pick up a lot more used books this time around than I did before. Like a lot of the other ones that I have had picked up within the last like couple of months before September were a combination of new and used books, and it was over 2 months. But that's basically everything that I have in terms of the um, overall books that I picked up. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and also hit the bell for notifications if you want to see more content. Thank you again, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next video. Bye.